Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Isis, Escape from Transylvania. The goddess next door and John Haynes must escape a horde of vampires on the hunt in this horror-filled Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Escape from Transylvania in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Just when you thought Star Wars couldn't fall any deeper down the SJW rabbit hole, Disney has decided to announce that Lando Calrissian is a pansexual. Now, when Lando Calrissian made his debut in George Lucas's Empire Strikes Back in 1980, he was clearly heterosexual. In fact, he was so heterosexual that he was flirting with Princess Leia when she came to Cloud City. And he was so manly and masculine that most heterosexual men thought he was the coolest dude in the galaxy because he was portrayed by one of the smoothest black men of the time, Billy D. Williams. And that's the Lando Calrissian everyone knew for over 40 years in the Star Wars universe. A heterosexual black man, a player, a smooth operator, and a ladies' man who was the contrast of Han Solo, the space pirate. However, in order to promote Solo, a Star Wars movie, Disney has decided they need to retcon Lando Calrissian, and they thought that they needed to bring in the identity politics because diversity and because racism. And the reason why I say that it's racist is because I find it funny that every time these SJWs, these feminists, and these liberals want to push their agenda regarding diversity and sexual orientation, they always have to take a passive-aggressive swipe at heterosexual black men. And it's passive in the fact that they want to include a black man in a story like Solo, a Star Wars story, but aggressive in that they have to try to do something in order to degrade him and his sexuality. And that shows how racist people like Kathleen Kennedy and many of these SJWs, liberals, and feminists truly are. Because why can't Han Solo be the pansexual? Oh, wait, that wouldn't go down very well with many of the white female Star Wars fans who see Han as their sexual fantasy and don't want to learn that their favorite scoundrel is also a sexual deviant. Because when it comes down to pansexuality, pansexuality is saying that whatever someone is attracted to, they can have sexual relations with. And that means a pansexual is someone who not only finds women attractive, they also find men sexually attractive, they find children sexually attractive, they find animals sexually attractive, and they also find objects sexually attractive, and like dolls or apple pies. And if they want to have sex with those objects or those children or those men, they will go out here and have sex with them. And that's something they don't want to promote using a white man like Han Solo, because that would really leave a sour taste in their mouth to find out that their favorite scoundrel is a sexual deviant who's not only a heterosexual, but a homosexual, a pedophile, and also into bestiality and other deviant sexual practices. So instead, what they want to do is put these type of sexual deviancies and project these type of sexual deviancies on the black man because according to many of these liberals, they really believe in the racist stereotype that the black man is some sort of sexual deviant. And that's the passive aggressive jab that these racists are making with this Lando Calrissian character in Solo, a Star Wars story, in that they are using this whole pansexual announcement in order to bring the Lando Calrissian character to the old stereotype that the black man is some sort of is so insatiable in his sexuality that he will go out here and have sex with not only women and men, but anything that comes in his direction. And that he's so insatiable that he cannot control his sexual urges. And this is what the liberals at Disney are trying to do by saying that Lando Calrissian is a pansexual. They are trying to bring back the old Jim Crow stereotype that black men are these sexual deviants. However, they're doing it under the guise of political correctness by saying that Lando Calrissian is a pansexual. And if you don't have any critical thinking skills, you'll sit there and think that this announcement that Lando Calrissian is a pansexual is some sort of move for diversity, when it's not a move for diversity. It is a passive aggressive swipe at heterosexual black men meant to drive their image all the way back to the era of Jim Crow and say that this black man is so not in control of his own sexuality that people have to go out of their way to protect their women from this sexual deviant and protect society from this sexual deviant. And that's how they breathe brand new life into an old racist stereotype. And this is what SJWs and liberals do. They try to hide their racism behind these intellectual terms, and they try to hide their racist views about black men behind these intellectual terms. And again, it's just very interesting to me how these liberals go out here and promote these ideas about black men. And most people, they can't really connect the dots to see what they're really trying to do regarding the image of black men in Solo, a Star Wars story. Because when I look at what they're trying to do with Lando Calrissian, I clearly see what the agenda they have. And the agenda they have is not only to promote sexual deviancy as a social norm, but they also want to socially engineer the idea in young people's minds with this movie by saying Lando Calrissian is a pansexual so that they can believe that black men being sexually deviant is socially normal and socially acceptable as well. The insidiousness of the racism here in Solo, a Star Wars story, is quite disturbing. And when you look at it critically, it shows you, how deeply disturbed many of the people working at Disney and working on the Star Wars division truly are. Because this announcement that Lando Calrissian is a pansexual fits, again, par for the course as it relates to Hollywood and its numerous things that is done to degrade the image of heterosexual black men. And I'm really getting tired of seeing these white supremacists in Hollywood try to use black men to promote their homosexual and sexually deviant agendas. First, it was the cross-dressing where they had black men in dresses like Big Mama, Shanae, and Medea. Then we got heterosexual Mr. Terrific from DC Comics, changed from the incredibly highly intelligent athlete and equal to Batman into a gay, bumbling, stumbling idiot on Arrow. Then we got nice guy from Archie Comics, Chuck Clayton, turned into a black brute on Riverdale, who was out here lying on his penis, talking about how he gave white girls sticky maples. And now we have Lando Calrissian from Star Wars, retconned into a sexual deviant. And when I look at all of this agenda that is regarding black men, especially heterosexual black men, it's clear to me that Hollywood hasn't changed since the 1930s as it relates to the black male image. And when it comes down to the heterosexual black male image, there's always been an effort to degrade heterosexual black men. And I clearly see that with this Solo, a Star Wars story, and this announcement that Lando Calrissian is a pansexual. Because as I see it, a pansexual is not a step towards diversity. A pansexual is a step towards promoting sexual deviancy. Because if a man can sit there and say that he is sexually attracted to not only children and animals and it's perfectly fine, then that's not a step towards diversity anyone should want to promote. Because when we look at this Lando Calrissian announcement, it's basically, again, a passive-aggressive swipe, which tells the world that Lando Calrissian isn't the player and smooth operator that men used to admire, but he's a sexual deviant we all need to avoid. And that's one of the reasons why I urge most people to go out here and avoid Solo, a Star Wars movie, because Solo, a Star Wars movie, is making an effort to promote a racist agenda against black men that degrades the image of heterosexual black men and makes black men into black brutes and black sexual deviants. And that's something that we should not want to promote to children and families in what was supposed to be a family oriented movie. When I look at this whole campaign to announce that Lando Calrissian is a pansexual, it's clearly a blunder by Disney, who is too caught up in identity politics to see how politically incorrect this type of announcement truly is and how inappropriate it is to announce this type of announcement to an audience for a family-centered movie. And when it comes down to these SJWs, they're so caught up in their identity politics and their name of diversity that they can't see how their attempts to try to diversify things shows how these SJWs like Kathleen Kennedy and those who work at Disney on the Star Wars brand are truly a bunch of racists. And their announcement that Lando is a Calrissian is a pansexual shows how racist they truly are. If you'd like to try some of my SJS Direct Fantasy, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the Temptation of John Haynes, and the Spinsterella trilogy, you can click the link to Amazon.com in the description box and purchase those books in paperback and ebook. And if you want to help me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.